So Mabuhay, this is Kevin from Philippintastic. I'm an expat American living in the Philippines, and just taking a walk tonight around the Iloilo Esplanade. Along the Iloilo River, and getting ready to go back home and cook some dinner. Gonna make some tacos tonight, American style, which I've been missing. Notice when you eat anything that's quote unquote called Mexican food here, usually the meat is not drained of the grease, so it's always very drippy, and I always kind of enjoy draining the meat. Even though it dries it out, I think it helps make it adhere to your taco shell or your tortilla a little bit better. But just wanted to say again, thanks to everybody who's been watching. Thank you again for all the likes and subscribers. I think by next week we'll probably hit 2,000 subscribers, which is a big milestone for me. I never thought I'd reach there until next year. So thanks again to all you YouTubers out there that have been viewing my content. And a notification for you guys, if you're available on Sunday, this Sunday evening, we're going to be doing another live podcast with me and my wife, Joji. She'll be joining me this time. So trying to give everybody a good heads up this time so that I'm not sitting alone staring at the screen talking to myself. That's kind of redundant and boring. I'd rather be working on a new video or some new content rather than just talking about whatever comes to my head. So if you guys are free Sunday evening, come join us for our first dual podcast, and we'll be answering questions on pretty much open topics, whatever you guys have to bring to the table. Just keep it respectful and courteous. We're happy to help anybody who's maybe in a Filipino and American relationship. So if you have any questions about, from the very beginning, how to meet somebody from the other country, we can help you with that. If you have any questions about how to keep a long-term relationship going, which is very difficult to do. We just did our almost 2-year, it was a dog fight. Anyways, like I said, we went almost for a year and a half without seeing each other. It was very difficult, but we made it work, so we can maybe give you some hints, tips, and tricks. We can also talk to you about if you have any questions on applying for visas, because both countries have different processes. So if you are going to get married in America and you want your Filipino or Filipina to come join you, you'll have to file paperwork for that. And same thing on the other end. If you're the American and you're wanting to come to the Philippines, you're gonna have to file paperwork for that. So it's not as easy as 1, 2, 3. You don't just get married and then come here or go there. It's quite complicated, lots of time, lots of money. So we can help you if you have questions about that. And also just advice and tips in general for traveling or relationships. We can help you. My wife lived in both Singapore and the United Emirates for a few years, and I also myself I lived and worked in China for 4 years. So if you want any feedback on what that was like, or if you plan on going there yourself, I can give you some feedback about that. And it doesn't sound like things are going too well over there at the moment. Raising COVID cases, lots of lockdowns, people running out of food. And from what I gather, I've heard that a majority of the, well, not a majority, maybe 40% of the expat population over there, just within Shanghai, is planning on leaving the country after the lockdown is over. And I don't blame them. If you've been locked in your house for over a month and you're hurting for food, I'm sure you're getting kind of stir crazy by now as spring approaches and the weather's changing. So that's kind of one of the reasons I left last July. I just couldn't deal with all the red tape and policies going on over there with the COVID. But anyway, some good news also here in Iloilo. We plan on moving from our apartment at One Spatial, and we found a nice private unit, maybe like 10 minutes away by jeepney. And the room in the apartment is much bigger. There's actually a separated kitchen, a larger living room, larger bathroom, so I won't always be getting a doorknob in my butt every time I'm changing clothes in the bathroom. So once we get settled up there, you can expect a video on that. And we also found that place for a little bit cheaper, so it's a good deal. That's kind of what I learned about from moving around, both in the US and China, is that you might not always find the best place first, but it's definitely going to help you get your bearings and then find something that kind of meets more your needs and your budget. So if you do plan on moving to the Philippines, you won't find the perfect place right off the bat, and if you do, you're lucky. But you need to take your time, figure out what neighborhoods are good to live in, and then just ask around. People know where the good spots are and what the good prices should be. And as for me, I'll be traveling here at the end of the month. I got all my paperwork done in Manila, and hopefully tomorrow the visa for my trip to South Korea will be complete. And I have a friend of the family that's picking up those documents and my passport for me, and then they'll mail them back here to me in Manila. And then I'll be off at the end of May, off to South Korea to go teach English literature. Right in the middle of Seoul, Korea. So I'll be able to share some good images and video of what it's like living there in Korea. And if you have ever wondered about what it'd be like to go there and visit, I think that'll be helpful to anybody in the Philippines or in other countries. That's one thing I kind of kick myself for, is not starting this blog a long time ago when I lived in China. I think it would have been very interesting to see what it's like to live in China, and especially to be there during the breakout of the COVID, when that was just a crazy situation. And a matter of fact, I have a lot of videos where I was keeping a video diary, which I might bring into play here eventually once I sit down and sift through them all. I have several hours, all kind of taking up space on my Google Drive, so I'd like to bust those out again and look at them someday, just to see the state of mind that I was in at the time. I really thought I was going to lose my marbles a couple times there, so I'll have to sift through those once I get some free time to do so, and then put them up on the channel for you guys to check out. But anyway, it's kind of like I guess, part of my history. It'll be nice to have. but great night here in Iloilo. Good breeze. Always a good breeze in the evening coming in off the water. And just wanted to say thank you guys again for watching. And for those of you that watched and commented on the comparison between Thailand and Philippines, I want to say thank you. Had some really great, interesting conversations on there. And I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to Thai people or Thailand at all. I really love that country. It's one of my favorites. And that's why I wanted to compare the two, because I'd say that if there were any countries more similar and yet different, I think Philippines and Thailand kind of fit that mold. So I wanted to compare those two because they're both two of my top 5 places in the world to visit if you're a traveler or adventurer. So no disrespect to Thailand. And both countries, yes, I agree, both countries are developing countries, not third world countries. But don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more of our informative and mediocre content. And I'm going to go cook some tacos because I'm hungry. So thanks for watching, and salamat.